Hi there. Greetings and welcome to the BIZ Info Zone. This is a special broadcast that we are bringing you today. You are in the zone, the BIZ Info Zone, where the savvy social entrepreneur gets to express their purpose, plan their next moves, and take their lives, their business, and those that they touch into the realm of prosperity. And I bet you're wondering, special broadcast? Why? Well, we've got a lot of great news to share today. My name is Lynn Hawkins. I'm your host. I'm the founder and dean of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, a Skyhawk Enterprises company, and I am the host of the show. And I'm so excited because I get to bring to you somebody who I consider family. And being family and knowing what this gentleman is bringing to us and what he has brought to us, I want to just touch on a little bit about who he is. I'm talking about Jason Hodge. Jason is a media planner, technical director, strategy expert, speaker, teacher, all around great foodie, and CEO of JAH Media Group Incorporated. And today he and I are going to talk about his experience as a faculty instructor at the recent first 2 days of the Fulfilling Your Potential Connect Masterclass. Now, the masterclass was held on March 26th and 27th. There were numerous modules of trainings that went on, and Jason taught in one of those modules. He also participated as a student in others, and he has agreed to join me today to give some of his candid feedback on what he took away and what he saw, and possibly why you should get involved, because the half day that's coming up on April 17th is open. It's open for you, and we're going to tell you how you can get there and get to it so that you can not only be able to get the first 2 days of all the training that went on, especially Jason's training, you can see the flow of the master class that went on, what's yet to come, and then you'll also be able to be one of the first to get involved in the second master class that's coming up in May. So help me welcome our guest, faculty instructor at the Fulfilling Your Potential Connect Masterclass, Jason Hodge. Jason,
hey, Lynn.
How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me again. Yeah, it was an amazing event. And funny enough is I was dog tired at the event. I was dog tired. I had been up for like 36 hours just making sure that everything was together. And, you know, when I saw your lineup, I said, okay, I've got to catch at least a couple of these things. And before I knew it, I had consumed about maybe half of the workshop, you know, just all of the instructors. And it was phenomenal. You really did bring together a top drawer, you know, collection of professionals. And I was not surprised, because I just know the caliber of person that you are, but I was very impressed with just all of the stuff, how it came together, how it flowed, and the information that they brought to the table. It was phenomenal. You know, so hats off to you, really. I meant to tell you that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, so give me right now, let you slide with one of your biggest takeaways.
One of my biggest takeaways is the importance of story. You know, that was a common thread that wove through the whole tapestry of your event, you and Cynthia's. And, you know, it is a crucial thing, and I'll tell you why it hit home for me so well. Is because, you know, I work with a lot of nonprofits, and one of the main things that I do when I work with nonprofits is to help them, you know, I help ferret out their story. My thing is, you got to tell your story, because if you don't tell your story, you're not going to make a connection with your ideal funders. And so without making that connection, bottom line is you don't get the money that you need and that you deserve to keep your doors open. And so, you know, the statistics on the amount of nonprofits that are closing every year. It's like around 7%, which is roughly 345 per day on average, 126,000 per year. They've got to really understand how to leverage their story. So I really appreciated the fact that you brought that to the forefront, getting that story out there.
Yeah, David Bullock is the creator of Story Leverage. And to understand that story is what it is, it has a construction to it. And we kind of learned that in 3rd, 4th grade, something like that, where, there's the beginning, the middle, and the end. There's the rising conflict, the climax, and then the descending result. And the thing that really impacted me about what it was that he taught on Story Leverage was the premise of the weight of story, our story, and how we bring it into our business, but even more than that, how it overlaps in the marketplace and how it overlaps in our customers' experiences with us and of us. So that was one of my big takeaways as well. Is there another that you can think of?
Oh, I could think of a ton of them. And funny enough is that they all tended to relate back to the story. But you also brought in Dr. Monica Agando. Did I say her name right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that her presentation was phenomenal as well because, again, she talked about a series of processes that needed to take place in order to get up to the point of telling the story. So to me, again, that preparation, the preparatory aspects that we need to go through in order to make sure that we are delivering to our marketplace what is going to resonate with them in order for them to want to do business with us. It's very important. So when she started breaking that down, and she, had to do like a speed breakdown, it was like, on high octane, just watching her presentation, and just like mine, it was like, okay, but by the time we got in there, it's like, okay, there's not enough time to really expand on this. We got to really hit it. So when she was in there just kind of hammering those points away, not only was it exciting just seeing her go through all of that information, but also the significance of what she was saying. She was dropping some key elements, salient elements on what is absolutely necessary in order to get in front of your marketplace and to speak to that marketplace. And if you don't have those skill sets, that knowledge, the information that's necessary in order to deliver, to bring it, if you will, if you don't have that, then basically you are cutting the legs right out from under you, financially speaking. Your return on investment is going to suffer. So she really, I love the way that she approached it, and then how she talked about the 7 layers, basically, the necessity, whereas yes, you're not necessarily in business when all is said and done, when you have the heart and the soul of a person who wants to be a world changer, a change agent. The money is not really the important thing. However, it is a very necessary thing. It's like we don't think about breathing oxygen every day. We do it. But take the oxygen away and we can't survive. Take the money away from a business, a project, an initiative, and that project, that initiative, it won't survive either. So she talked about the relevance. She put it into the proper perspective so that, things stayed in balance, so it didn't seem like, oh, that slimy money stuff. It was like, no, this is necessary. Let's have this conversation, a mature conversation in a mature business. So I love the way that she did that. It was awesome.
I did too. I have to tell you, Dr. Monica brought it.
She did.
And to take you from the 7 steps into 5 steps of that last 7th step that takes you into, and this was what brought clarity to the whole thing. The title of her session was Thriving, the soul and science of authoring your success. And she actually wove the fabric of story to this 8-step process of being able to get to your profitable client.
Yeah.
And I thought it.
But let me interrupt you real quick, okay? Because you said something that I think is a key word there. The science of it, which means that it's a deliberate action. That's the part that I think really stuck with me, is that she brought to the conversation the fact that it is something that is totally within your control. That, to me, that was an empowering statement, and her presentation, because of that, was extremely empowering. It was no longer like your business, your project is by chance. It's like, no, you actually have a direct impact on the outcome of it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I had to. Okay.
I hear you, because that's it. I mean, how do you create the story, but to have a strategy, and the science in the strategy is truly what leads to success. And I'm with you. I love the way that she brought that all together. And she did it, bam, bam, bam. If you didn't have your notebook ready, your pen handy with a spare on the side,
yes,
you had to go back and listen to it.
You had to go back. Exactly. Exactly. And when you think about it, the fact that, okay, her and her partnership, right? It's like they've leveraged hundreds of millions of dollars for their clients, and so they were bringing those very key things to the workshop on what it is that they used to do that. Now, come on, that alone was worth the price of the workshop 10 times over. To know what the Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, the things that they had to do based on the systems that they were using to get in front of their marketplace, and then how they go through and isolate what is relevant, what is not, and how they test against those things. Come on. Yeah, you really put together a great lineup.
You know, now that you said that, I really want to drive home the point that, a lot of people think, well, nonprofit organizations don't use the same methodologies as for-profit businesses to drive customers and clients and serve their constituencies, and that is not true. The truth is that this type of a system, because it's a science, because it's proven, works for business, nonprofit business, for-profit business. And, because I had a couple people ask me, well, I'm a nonprofit. I don't know that would really work for me. And I'm like, well, are you a business? Are you trying to do business so that you can serve your constituents and work your programs and serve your people? Well, for-profit businesses are driving income so that they can serve their clients and serve their marketplaces. It's the same thing, and this information, I think, was truly impactful for any entrepreneur coming in to hear this. So
well, let's talk about your piece in there, Lynn. Okay, your piece in there, you talked about just the very thin line. The thin line between a nonprofit and a for-profit. It was like one thing. Most people don't know that. So they have this thing in their head about, well, I'm a nonprofit, so therefore I can or cannot do certain things. And it's just simply not true, because they are misdefining they're misdefining what their entity is. And so when you said the words that you said in your piece, I was like, I had to stop for a second and said, okay, let me replay that in my head, okay? Because it changed the nature of the conversation that I have with my nonprofits. Just that piece that you brought to the table. Because it's a reframe, it's a total reframe, so I loved what you said about that.
Thank you for that, because, my whole thing is around social entrepreneurship. If you're in business as a for-profit business, there are ways to leverage what it is that you're doing when you're thinking beyond you and thinking about others, and not just your clients, not just your customers. I know numerous entrepreneurs who are caregivers and have an affinity towards the Alzheimer's Association or, MAD, the organization MAD, Mothers Against
Right.
Drunk Drivers, or
Right.
whether it's the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or anything like that, to let your community, let your customers and patrons know that you are connected, and how you're connected. And it could be just as small as having a logo on your website that's a direct link to that organization. You've got it. You really have made a huge statement about the value that you bring to the world. One of the organizations that I have an affinity for, not only in relation to the permission movement, which is something that I brought into the world, where we're actually focused on girls who are aging out of foster care, and girls who are coming out, transitioning out of juvenile detention, women who are transitioning out of the prison system, and women who are coming out of the military, whether they've been there for 2 years or 22 years, they're coming out and the world looks a whole lot different now than it was when they went in. And if they're trying to reinsert themselves into society, there could be a lot of fear around all of that. And so life skills tools, business tools, that is what I focus on as far as social entrepreneurship. And I've recently connected with the, oh my God, Wounded Warrior Project. Because, you know, there are wounds that you can see, and there are wounds that you don't necessarily see. The wounds of the mind and the heart are wounds that are just as deep as losing an arm or both legs, or, you know, whatever physical issue you may have had. And to know that there are things that I am going to be doing to bring people around to address those groups, and to address them in a way that really allows us to expand in delivering our expertise. And you know, one of the things you and I were just talking about a little earlier was the impact movement that is about to launch, that's in the final planning stages now, about to launch. Because who doesn't want to, I mean, anybody that has a heart, who doesn't want to help make a positive impact on the world? And that's what this project is all about. And that's what I'm called to. That's what the Academy is all about, that social entrepreneurship flavor added to your business. And I love that. And what else?
Well, you know, that is the one thread that no worries. I mean, but it was so exciting, because that was, everybody brought to the table that same feel, that caring, that, okay, look, I want to bring some information that you can take that's usable, and what is more important is the principles around the information that was being brought. You know, there's things that you can learn that are tactical, right? And they have a shelf life. Because the minute that something changes, you know, you tell somebody to do something with Google and their SEO, and then the minute that they change their algorithm, okay, all of that stuff that I just learned is out the window. It doesn't work anymore. So what I loved about the scope of the workshop is the fact that folks were talking about the principles, about the why, about the story behind the stuff, because then you could always take it and make it mean whatever you need it to mean for your particular industry. So, you know, that was a very, it was as if you sat and kind of choreographed the whole thing. I'm not trying to hype it, trust me, okay? I'm not a hypey person. But the fact is that, you know, everything that I saw in there, and I saw quite a few of those lessons, was just pretty amazing. You know, I mean, it's like they went in there and just kind of like detailed out the principles around what you need for the growth in this particular arena. You know, it was great.
Well, I just want to say I've got a couple of questions for you, but before I get to that, I want to go through and really just kind of outline some of the things that were included in the masterclass. And this, it truly was about the concept of fulfilling your potential. How do you, as an entrepreneur, fulfill your potential? And we decided, Cynthia and I, that there were actually 4 parts to that to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Connect,
Okay.
collaborate,
Mm-hmm.
create, and contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have the future master classes that I spoke about are actually going to be the collaborate, create, and contribute master classes.
Mm-hmm.
This connect was the one, and I think you pointed it out, that actually drove the thread through the fabric of each of the discussions that led back to the subject matter of connecting with your audience, connecting with your ideal client, connecting and being able to reconnect because of the connection that you made, to
Mm-hmm.
maintain and sustain the connection because of the way that you made that connection. And I think it was really important to see that the second major thread that was running through everything, and you
Mm-hmm.
pointed it out, it was the heart. It was the
Mm-hmm.
love factor. It was
Absolutely.
the heart of everything that we did, everything that we talked about really came from a space of heart. And
Mm-hmm.
a heart that was partly contribution, but
Mm-hmm.
mainly the foundation.
Mm-hmm. And to tell you the truth, I mean, and I'll give you a very huge secret, that is the sole thing that I attribute to being able to explode YouTube presences. You lead with the heart. The channels that I put out that have been like, wow, okay, how did that explode like that? It's because I didn't focus on the SEO. I didn't focus on just optimizing everything. Although I will be going over the 25 different areas of your YouTube channel that you could and should be optimizing. There's 25 of them. There's some other things that you could do off-site, but I'd say 25 major ones. But I didn't focus on all of that in order to grow the presence. What I focused on was, what is going to be the best thing for the audience? That was the first and the foremost thought in my mind. And so that plays right in line with the heart that you guys spoke about in the workshop. When you have a heart to serve your audience, to serve your community, and you lead with that, they reward you because they're like, wow, they're really taking care of me. It's like when people come over to my house to eat, I'm a foodie. When people come over to my house to eat, we have a policy in my house that you do not leave here unstuffed. You must be stuffed when you leave here and full, like, okay, you guys did it, thank you. I can't eat, I don't even want to look at food. It was amazing what you did, thank you. That's how we like to serve people when they come over to eat. When they come to our channels, we like to do the same thing, but in a digital format, So that is a gem right there. But we're going to be diving into some of the how-tos and the principles around, the configuration of that, for this YouTube
I'm
channel.
glad you brought that up, because since you brought that up, that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you. But before we leave this space, I really want to bring home the point of having heart, and having the heart as the foundation of things is part of what Cynthia Gardner O'Neill and I talked about in the segment about Harmonize and harmonics, harmonizing life and heart-ventured relationships. And Jason, that's what you're talking about. It is really doing things from the place, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, which we had an excellent Facebook session with David Baird, or Skype with Julie. Julie Wolf did a thing on Skype. Everything came down to, it was about the relationships. And having a way to even, I don't know that people really think about YouTube as a space to be able to build and nurture relationships, but it is. And I am so glad that you focused on that as the first part of what we're going to dive into. And, as far as YouTube, oh my gosh, I have learned so much about YouTube and how to more effectively utilize YouTube as a tool for growing business that in conversations with Jason, we've actually decided he's got more to share. And he was talking about the 25 areas to optimizing YouTube. He's going to do an add-on session just for us to be able to really share this information because of the fact that he's so passionate about the work that he's doing, and he feels so passionately about the work that we've done in bringing the masterclass to you. So thank you for that.
And I'm going to tell you something, Lynn. I'm going to tell you something. It is going to literally change the way that you look at YouTube and that you look at the social media strata altogether. It's going to shift it because, you see, and before the Hangout, we were kind of talking about this a little, just, you know, to the audience there. But the challenge that most people have with social is that they're treating it as some type of digital ATM machine. And that's really not how you're supposed to look at social. Because, you see, social is a way for you to present yourself so that folks can, you know, develop some type of rapport to where they can trust you and say, something about this person that really I want to do this. I want to develop a deeper involvement with, whether it be cash exchange, whether it be, you know, events, doing events, whatever it is, but you get on their radar. But when you approach it from the standpoint of, like, what can I get from my audience, and you start just kind of slamming them and all that, yeah, you may make some great tactical money initially, but you're not going to develop a space where folks actually want to go beyond that initial transaction. You know, you take from them, they're going to figure out a way to take from you, instead of looking at, how do I give to you? For them to say, wow, you've given so much to me, what can I do for you? Now, I'm going to tell you something real quick. This is a little off topic, but still in the theme of what we're talking about here. But because of what it is that I do on social and how I treat social, what it is that I post, the different things that I do on my Facebook and YouTube and all of that, you know, I get contacted numerous times for folks saying, hey, you know, I really like what you've got going on. You know, what can I do for you? You know, this project, as a matter of fact, that you know, we're in, the whole impact movement, you know, impact project here, and it's going to be the movie. That came about because of what it is that I do on social. It wasn't that I went seeking for the project to get involved with. It was because of what I do, and then the relationship, the rapport that was built from the folks who are in the midst of organizing this whole thing, where they're like, you know what, get Jason in here. You know, so that is a powerful position, and if you understand that, if you really get the leverage and capability of social media, you will treat your YouTube not as a place to just store your videos or to just rank videos real quick to, you know, get a quick dollar out of it and then move on to the next thing. You would create it in a way where it has longevity, you're putting it together with a strategy in mind, and then you're connecting the dots. There are so many ways that you can make money from your YouTube channel that has absolutely nothing to do with your selling anything on the channel. We're going to go over that in the workshop, you know, and it will literally blow your mind. If you're not doing this already, you're going to kick yourself for not doing it. But it will literally blow your mind, because it's one of those things that, you know, it's an aha moment, and you say, wait a minute, if I could do this with YouTube, what can I do with the other social media platforms? And it's all governed by this one principle, this one tweak to your mindset on how you leverage it, how you approach it, how you nurture it. I'll stop there because, you know, I don't want to give it all away, but pretty good.
You know, you're saying that, and it just makes me want to describe even more about what went on in these 2 days of the masterclass, and to let our audience know too that starting next week we're going to be sharing pieces of the masterclass so that you can pick up some of these tools that were taught during the masterclass. We had Matt Pearlstein doing EQ 101 for entrepreneurs, which really, you know, the first question is, what is EQ? And if you know what EQ is, emotional intelligence, you know that the left brain, right brain conversation that is coming more and more into the mainstream, and the conscious entrepreneurship conversation that's coming more into the mainstream conversation is really bringing out the more rapid recovery of some of the...
Can I chime in on that, Lynn?
Yeah.
Can I chime in on that?
Okay.
Okay, because, okay, let me, when he brought up that thing with the emotional intelligence and what businesses were using as a hiring type of criteria, that they weren't going by the IQs anymore, but they were leaning now heavily towards emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. That, to me, is a game changer right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, if businesses are now saying, look, we want to know where you are emotionally, what's your emotional intelligence, how in tune are you with your emotions, it gives a lot of credence to the conversation that you do need to have that whole integration between mind and body and spirit and all of that, you know, your heart involved. You know, you need to be in touch and tune with your emotions in order to increase your pay scale. So it directly benefits the person in their paycheck. Mm-hmm. I did not know that until I heard the workshop. Mm-hmm. My mouth about dropped open when he talked about the statistics on that. I was like, whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is truly being integrated into life. You know, mm-hmm. Like when mm-hmm. we talk about relationships, what's one of the biggest things that relationships either excel with or mm-hmm. decelerate with? And it is that emotional mm-hmm. intelligence. There's a formula that Matt talks about: EQ plus IQ equals mm-hmm. rewards. Right. One without the other doesn't work. Right. Now, there are degrees, and I think that, you know, a lot of us know that, you know, heavily left-brain people are missing something when it comes to the connection in relationships, because either they didn't really learn it or they had some traumatic stuff happen and they have kept it close to the vest. So there was a lot of explanation in that, and especially when it comes down to the entrepreneur and doing mm-hmm. bigger business, better business, and bringing more to your clients because you're in that great EQ space. I was so thrilled with that. And then we had align with your purpose. And Aileen talked about the first piece of aligning with your purpose is to connect with your inner self. Is that not EQ? Oh my gosh. And mm-hmm. so people can see how the thread kind of got woven, you know, from EQ to aligning with your purpose, because connecting is the first thing that you do, connect with yourself. I often use the analogy of, you know, we hear on the airplanes when the masks drop and you need to put on the oxygen, mm-hmm. put yours on first so that then you can help other people. It's the same thing. You got to go in first and mm-hmm. heal from mm-hmm. in, and not just heal, thrive. Mm-hmm. And a change.
That's the key right there. Yeah, that's the key right there, because a lot of times we are, especially in this society, we are taught to just survive life as opposed to thriving in life, you know, and we were never meant to just survive. We were meant to thrive. We were meant to expand. We were meant to better the next generation and all of that. And we simply can't do that if all we're doing is surviving life, you know, paycheck to paycheck, you know, okay, well, hopefully this comes together so that this doesn't fall apart. And when you are in that zone, there's nothing that you can really do to better anything, because you're just trying to figure out how to survive, how to get from, you know, okay, you know, this paycheck, okay, we got just a certain amount of money before it runs out. So, you know, I think that's a very valuable conversation, and most people don't think about it like that. We do tend to survive life.
Well, what did you think about Joseph Mack's session on connecting with your audience and increasing your access or your assets through building a stellar reputation? If that isn't relationship, I don't know what is. having
And think
that,
about it.
huh?
Yeah. And I was going to say, and think about it. Okay, with the thing, and there's a few that I didn't catch, but I have heard Joseph's presentation before. I've heard so I didn't catch his. I didn't catch Aileen's. There's a few in there, but
Uh-huh.
just knowing, and so the thing with reputation is, the funny thing is that people on one hand think, oh, what's the big deal with that? But quick litmus test here is when you go to check out a restaurant, what's the first thing that you do? You go and find out what's the reputation. How many stars does it have by it? How many people are saying good things about it? And so that just goes to show you how relevant that is. So for anybody who thinks that it doesn't matter, you have to just judge by yourself. You yourself will go and check to see how many stars does this restaurant have by it. And, oh, 2 stars, I'm not eating there. 2 out of 5, they must be really horrible. So you're going to make the assumption based on what it is that you see represented. So therefore, his conversation on that is very relevant because it's like he's showing you, okay, why you need it, and then some different strategies, I would imagine, on how to up your reputation, things that you should have in place, ways that you can go about it. So it's very, very relevant conversation. You're losing money if you don't have that situation in place.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing about it was that Joseph gave some steps as to how you can begin to build your online reputation. And then, there's a whole nother strategy to it of maintaining it. And we're actually going to have more of that in the Collaborate Masterclass. But, oh my gosh, one of the ones that I loved was the branding. Right brain creativity plus left brain strategy equals rock star brands. Now, can you imagine branding being seen from a strategy of right and left brain intelligence, and then merge it together and talk about the vibrancy and the attraction that your branding, which is different than a brand, can do for you? And she talked about all of that, and the fact that your brand, you really do want to imprint your brand to influence your audience, and the impact be to increase your revenue. And all of that was a piece of what Danielle Miller actually went through. I thought that was just,
and I loved her story. I loved her story. How she kind of got into it herself. I mean, it just shows that she was so connected with her subject matter. It just wasn't something that was just a head game. It was like, no, this is what was me. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, because your brand too is something that you may think one day it's this, yet as you emerge into more of who you are and your business, your brand actually may need to change in order to represent better who it is that you are at that new place that you are. And she talked about how you can even see that happening and initiate those changes occurring in order to really support yourself with your brand so that your branding then really works for you. And
now, I don't know about you, but did that take like a weight off of you? Because for me, when I heard that, it really actually took a lot of the pressure off of having to have like this solid brand, everything just so thought out. Just knowing that, well, it's going to change over time. So don't stress about it so much. Go with what you have now and allow it to evolve with you. That was key for me. I came away from that one feeling like this. Oh, okay. Hey, that was pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it gives you permission to grow and to allow what you have to grow with you. Your brand, the way that you're communicating these things. If you've got a signature speech, the fact that it can, in fact, change and grow with you. Comedians aren't the only ones that need to add new stuff to their.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
And the whole social sharing panel, you guys were amazing, just totally amazing with what was brought to the similarities, the differences, I say similarities and I think commonalities because sometimes in some places they aren't the same because each of those platforms it is not similar. They are different, yet there are commonalities. And to have had the discussion to see some of the things that were brought out about those similarities, about those differences, and the different strategies that you could use to combine them even.
Yeah, my mind was blown with the Skype. It was blown with the Skype. I didn't realize that you can do as many things with Skype that you can do. I was like, I have to take another look at Skype because I used to use it for one thing, but totally limited on how it should be and could be used. And then also with Virginia Parsons with the Google Hangouts. Now, and she had to correct me because I was like I said, hey, you're the expert on that, so this is my impression of it. This is what I think the limitations are. Correct me if I'm wrong. She's like, oh yeah, that's wrong. I was like, oh, okay. I learned so much. And the beautiful thing is that you have your area of expertise, and the group of folks that you brought together, it was such a strong group that everybody knew their stuff. So it's like, okay, well, I acquiesce. Okay, tell me more about what it is that your thing does, and then so let me see how I can incorporate this, from a media planning standpoint. How do I now talk about your platform to my client base so that they know, okay, so you can do all of these things on this platform? Because quite frankly, her platform would be great for certain things that I wouldn't necessarily use a YouTube platform for, even though they do share space. But it's like, yeah, I'm seeing some things that you can do on Hangouts that I'm totally blown away by.
And that's how I was with the Skype discussion. It was like, I use Skype to call people. We have our little one-on-one and we're done. But to know that Skype has major capabilities far beyond that, I was like, okay, now I really do need to rethink how I can utilize Skype. Same thing with Facebook. David Baer showed some ways to use Facebook that were totally new to me. Some I had heard about and not seen. And with what he showed, he went boom, 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 and covered them all. And I was like, okay, now I need to get it done one. Where I can really say step one, okay, okay, because the master class was used to really bring this information that if you watch the video again and pause it at certain places, you could do exactly what I'm talking about. And there was also the opportunity to say, while I may be able to do that, is there another place that I can maybe do it to a higher degree, learn more about what it is that I'm doing, and apply more, because of course there's always more. And that's what David Baird brought to me as part of his presentation.
Oh yeah, I got a lot out of his
the whole analytics being tracked, the cross analytics. I mean, I was another one blown away. And then we had the introduction of what is yet to come on April 17th. And it was amazing because Monica Ogando is going to be back with us, and she's going to lead a small panel in a discussion around speaking and interviewing and hosting radio, web TV, and the like. And the big thing there is to know that there is truly one simple strategy that can make you successful, whether you're the host or the presenter. And if I had to give it away right now, I'm not going to. I'm going to.
Well, let's not forget. Let's not forget the vortex model of doing business when Nina Gaudio Graves brought that up. And just, I mean, just when you think about it, how many different places that can overlay where you can take what you do on or offline, or take your overall, the end goal objective, and actually create a business out of it that drives itself. When she goes into the pillars and how that creates the vortex that creates like this sucking action to just, I mean, like on autopilot, just drive business in when you have it set up right. That is a powerful training right there, because most folks, they start, and unfortunately, and this is probably why so many businesses fail, but they started out without the structure set up properly. So then they're kind of trying to back their way into their end goal objective, as opposed to knowing where it is, structuring it from there, and building backwards like Gina goes over. You know, so that, and then I didn't catch Jack's thing, but I know that it was
Jack's
good.
on the 17th.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I didn't miss it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but before we get off of Gina's thing, I really want to bring home the fact that I purposefully, but I'm so glad you didn't let me forget, did not mention the vortex model of doing business. I wanted to save it as the last thing, because the vortex that spin, and this is the perfect place to talk
let the cat out of the bag.
This is where I wanted to bring it up, and when you said it, I was like, oh my God, I almost forgot. So, but the vortex, if you think about a tornado and what happens on the outer rings of a tornado, if you think about your business being in the center of the tornado, and the eye, where there's calm, where there's prosperity, where there's peace and sunshine and stuff, growth and opportunity shows up in the center of the vortex. All of the stuff that happens on the outer ring is what really draws. That's what this masterclass was set up to do. That's what this Fulfilling Your Potential Masterclass was set up to do, was to show you all the things on the outside, all the things that could come in to really allow you to attract the business that you desire to attract. And also, you mentioned about the pillars. That is so key. And people don't realize how strong it is to have a foundation set on the pillars of your business that are the opportunities, to the open doors for people to come into the center of your business to work with you. And, you know, to have Gina to actually start the masterclass off with that really was the expansion that led to greater expansion, so that all of these other things could come and settle right here, with the fact that fulfilling your potential starts again from the inside going out. Yet the inside isn't ready. You can't make those connections outside that are as meaningful as they can be.
Right.
And so that's what we wanted to accomplish. I'm so grateful to you for bringing this opportunity for me to get your feedback. It was critical to me to really have the opportunity to interview some of our faculty instructors to find out what it was that they really enjoyed, and to give you the opportunity, our audience, to spend this time between now and the 17th of April, when the last piece of the masterclass will be delivered, and you can still get involved. As a matter of fact, I would love for you to go to, what do I do with my link? AskJAH.com, AskJAH.com/YTU. That's YouTube Unplugged, Unleashed, and Let Go. Spinning, so that you can bring more into your world, and so that you can serve more people. And you'll be able to get to the masterclass page and sign up. Get involved with us. Be there. Get access to the modules that have already been recorded. We're actually going to, like I mentioned, share some additional pieces of the masterclass with the world over the next couple of weeks until the 17th, and you will get the opportunity to yet do more, to get with us so that we can help you get to more of your clients, connect with more of your clients when you connect with us. And Jason, thank you, my friend, my relative, my brother, for being here with us, with me today on the BIZ Info Zone show, talking about the Fulfilling Your Potential Connect Masterclass. I appreciate you so much. And to our audience, thank you for joining us today. I want to make sure that you got the link. I will post it on the event page. It's askjah.com/YTU. That's YouTube Unleashed or Unplugged. So check it out now. And then be with us next Thursday for the next BIZ Info Zone show, where, guess what? We've got Dr. Monica Ogando. And she is going to do a segment specifically on story leverage and thrive in your business, and how to thrive in your business. So be sure to join us next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, same place. And we will see you then. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Lynn Hawkins. I'm your host of the BIZ Info Zone show, and you've been in the zone. So until next time, keep going. Thanks.